Really likes to storm at exactly the moment I stream, even though it's only once a week. Don't know why. Jesus is mad at me. I've also got the kittens out of the room. Came up with a better situation for everybody. I had to keep the door shut to keep them in here. So I couldn't run the air conditioner. With them out of the room, I can keep the door open, which means I'm not wasting electricity by running the air conditioner because I'm pretty much always in this room, unless I'm cooking or using the bathroom. While we're waiting, I need to check on the status of the package. Won't arrive until July the 1st. All right, Odd. Got freaking allergies like a motherfucker today. I think I'm going to run with the usual. It's 8:08 p.m. here, Eastern Standard Time. By 8:15, if we don't have any panel members, I'm going to be shutting down. And like last week, even if we do get things going, I'll need to be gone by 10 o'clock. Hello, Melody. All right, Melody. So you better get this party started. Hello, Odd.
Hey, Trades, how you going, brother?
What was that?
Am I quiet? Sorry. How you going, brother?
Not bad, not bad.
Am I actually quiet or what? This is my normal speaking volume. Is that too quiet?
No, it's fine. I'm just retarded when it comes to any like language outside of my own. Well, it's the same language, but accents fuck me up. I don't know why. Like most people can just like know that it's like a slightly different accent. Me, it's like I don't know. My brain does not understand it, so it
Well, I
takes a
didn't know
minute.
I had an accent until I came on this channel, so,
Well,
mate.
that's mainly everyone. Everyone thinks
Yeah,
that.
pretty
Like
much.
like I have an accent, but to me, I don't because everyone that lives around me speaks the same.
Oh yeah, of course. The Indian accent, Cadwin. We have a company here for our phone called Optus. I don't know how wide they are, but they are totally Indian based, and I don't live in India, so yeah, it sucks because I'm with them, and I've got to deal with that accent a lot, and I don't understand it. And I'm not being rude or nothing, but I just don't understand it.
It just takes a little getting used to. Like you have to learn the little, how do you explain it? Like the differences in pronunciation with their certain like letters at the end and shit. Once you hear it
Yeah.
for a little bit, it clicks. But I have very little experience with people outside of the States, so it takes a little bit for me to get used to it.
Oh yeah, and we're bombarded with so much media from the States, so your accents sort of become everybody else's norm, whether we like it or not.
Yeah, well,
So,
mine specifically is not really that popular in the States. The Southern accent usually isn't what gets pushed like on the news and all the other shit. Uh, so I don't know if that would be the case for me specifically.
you have a very religious sounding voice.
Yep, it's because I come from the South, and that's like the Southern Baptist Bible Belt area, which I hate. Yeah, I don't
Cool.
have a really strong Southern accent, but it's there.
Yeah, it's there.
It's there.
Don't mean that. Yeah. Cool. See, I don't get those differentiations, Gads.
Right. Well, I'm sure Australia is similar. Like, unless it's really
Of course.
small, there's probably little areas that have different like dialects or accents. And to me,
I'm
it'll
from the
all be
centre.
Australian. Right.
Yeah. And I'm from the centre, Adelaide, and I actually got called or told I had an Adelaidean accent the other day, and that's a first for me. But yeah, wow, that was from another Aussie who lives in close, not near Sydney, but like that side of Australia. It's
Right.
fucking nearly 1,800 kilometres away. So, yeah.
Damn. Hello, Melody.
Hey y'all, what's going on?
Not much. We're just getting this started.
Hey y'all, it's Southern 2 to me, big time. Hey Melody.
It is. So I'm from Arkansas, and it's definitely in the South. I don't really have much of a Southern accent. I do sometimes whenever I'm talking to people that are from the South, because I just kind of mimic their their accent in a way.
I'm the only one from South Australia. I'm the only one actually in the South. I'm fucking far more South than you fuckers.
Well, it
I don't know how to even concoct an accent that
Right.
Southern.
Well, it's completely different. So it doesn't just mean the south of a location. It's specific to the United States. Like the southern United States is like, honestly, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But like, I can't get rid of it. It's there.
You don't like our accent?
I do understand.
Well, no, it's not just that. It's the association with the southern accent. We tend in general, we tend to be more stupid. We tend to be more racist. We tend to be more Republican. We're backward as fuck.
That's just because of lack of education.
But it's
True.
not that people just associate people from the South as
But it
being
is
stupid,
correct.
But that's so not true.
So wait, hold on. It's okay. You can find anecdotal differences. You can always do that. You can find people that aren't stupid that come from the South. But big picture, there are more stupid people in the South than there are up north. That's just it's how it is. Like
I don't consider a single one of you guys stupid here, but you all the Southern accent is definitely the stupid giveaway. And I don't know if you hear me on the chat, man. I generalize Americans as stupid, and I assume the ones that I like and aren't stupid understand who I'm talking about. And I don't mean offense to you guys at all.
Well, there are a lot of
freaking stupid ones, man.
I don't take it offensively. Like we as a whole, we elected Donald Trump. That's all you need to say. Like,
I've come across a few redneck style Aussies lately, though, and so I should shut my trap a bit more now.
Oh yeah, you
So-
call that a knife? That's
Yeah,
a
brother. You do it better than me.
I don't.
Awesome.
I can't tell the
Crikey.
difference.
Crikey.
What's the difference between like how you're speaking now and redneck, like Australian?
Oh, well, I can't. I do. It's in chat, so I don't hear the accent. If you know what I mean, I just hear the attitude, which is
Right.
Trumpy.
Okay,
So, yeah,
but wouldn't
okay.
but don't you
That's
have
not even
experience? Like even if it's not in chat, don't you have experience with people who are more like the redneck style
No,
Australians?
not in the real world.
Okay,
We
never
are
mind.
blue as fuck here, generally.
I grew up with rednecks.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, there is a lot of expansion just because of the media crap that's being pushed. There's
Right.
a lot of propaganda coming out of your
Murdoch.
country at the moment.
Well, Murdoch owns your country. That's the thing.
He's Australian, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Doesn't he have like a lot
media.
of?
But
So he has a
bought all
lot
the
of
media in
pull.
Australia.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
moved to America
Oh.
and bought up media here and started his empire here.
Well, now he
Big
has
time.
in the United States not just the right. It's the
News Corp.
biggest news company there is in the United
Well,
States.
it's actually not a news company. It's an entertainment company.
Right.
Oh wow, he's like 100 years old, so it's
Well,
going
he just
to his
retired.
hierarchy now. Exactly.
Yeah, he said step down and let his son take over.
I'm
But
sure
yeah,
it'll still
he's
just
very
be as
powerful
evil.
Aussie.
Oh yeah, he's the same mentality as his father. Now, if his daughter still took over, it would have went left.
Oh, cool.
That would
He
be
wasn't
interesting.
left. And the other billionaire Aussie that's annoying is Clive Palmer, because he made a political party called the Trumpet of Patriots, which is a complete copy and suck up political party to Trump. It
I
was
think
like
there's
trying
a
to
grand
duplicate his attitudes and shit.
conspiracy. I think the rich are plotting to wipe out all the lower people and basically take over the world and use AI as their servant.
The thing is
Well,
why
it'll
would you
reduce the
need?
population problem, won't it?
Well,
Yeah,
why
that's
don't
the main
you?
thing.
Why? Like, well, for one, there really isn't a population problem under AI, at least in my view. Like, not currently. In fact,
Well-
in recent times, we're told that we're about to have a major crisis because our low
But the
birth
rich want
rates.
more. The rich
Yeah,
always
but
want
hold on,
more.
Trobes.
I
You've
could
got
see
the
that.
immigration problem everywhere over the planet, which
Yeah, well,
goes
that's
against what you said.
climate.
AI
Climate
has nothing to
inflicted.
do with being stupid or not,
But it
or
still
like
means
your
moving
region
more
of where
people
you're
into a
at.
smaller spot.
Oh no,
Sorry,
and
Melody.
AI is going to replace intelligence. People are going to outsource thinking. to
No,
AI.
but I'm just saying, like whenever you're from like a certain region and people
Mhm.
associate that with intelligence, I mean, it's kind of it's subjective, and I mean, I'm sure. So even like within
Absolutely.
cities or the outskirts of cities, some people, some places are considered okay. You're dumpy. Something's wrong with you. Even if that's not the truth. I
That's
mean, I
environmental.
think
That's usually because
Less
of legislation
educated
and
doesn't
stuff like
mean lower intelligence.
that's
Not
no,
not always, not always, but
I mean, there's
on
certain like
this one
boroughs and places.
specifically, I don't think that there is a correlation, but I do believe it's an education thing for the South.
Well, exactly. It has to do with education, and some
Well, and
places
nutrition is a
they don't
big
have
thing
the
too.
education.
They don't
That's
have
true.
the
have
best.
the means to do it.
Well, they also go together. Like education leads to poverty, or you're already in poverty, which means you can't really be that nutritious because eating healthy is expensive.
Hmm
Yeah.
Well, that's why
No,
Carter
that's true.
started the Board of Education. So he takes money from rich places like New York, California, Texas, Florida, and then reallocates that money to schools across like Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, and make
I
sure they
like
can
it.
actually bring their standards up. Oh, Trump got rid of it now. It's gone. pretty
Of
much.
course, he ruins everything.
Yeah, because I live in one of the poorest places states like in the nation, and we're rated. I don't know. We're like
Well, Nebraska just went
36
broke this month.
like educational. I think Mississippi is rated like the worst as far as
Yeah.
education
Or no, Oklahoma.
opportunities.
Oklahoma's
And
the worst. That's
I'm
almost like a Christian fundamentalist state there.
Alabama.
No, Oklahoma.
I'd be willing to bet that
No,
Oklahoma.
it's more like Georgia and Alabama and Mississippi. That's going to be like your worst
I'm
states.
pretty sure the lowest
I don't.
education is
Oklahoma's not
Oklahoma.
there. I don't think so.
Mississippi's 47th or 48th, something like that.
Well, that would definitely go to education because there's this thing involved. You say Oklahoma is highly like fundamentalist religion. There is a obvious correlation with that. People who are hardcore fundamentalist religious, this isn't just Christianity. This also goes into like Muslims and everything. They tend to be anti-intellectual. That they reject science and they you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
it
yeah.
leads to a
Well, they fail
major
to
problem.
understand it.
Well, it's one, they don't understand it, but also they're taught to push against it because it's like against their religion. It's like they're taught that it pushes them in like sin or like the wrong direction.
All right,
And
here. So I got the rankings for schools. Mississippi is actually up there. Pennsylvania's pretty low too, though.
yeah,
New
Mississippi and
Mexico is
Alabama.
50th.
Which one?
Well, for pre-K, it's New Mexico at 50th, but then higher
Really?
education is 20th. Alaska's 49th for pre-K, and then 22nd for higher education. So they're really dropping the ball on the elementary, just getting people to understand basic writing, math, arithmetic, and such. And putting all their money into the higher education. Yeah, there's Oklahoma 48th pre-K, 31th for higher education.
That's interesting. I never thought that Oklahoma was in that category, because it's always been in the deep South. So it's a pre-K and.
I hear from another. This one's a different
I don't know about like
Alabama
higher
at 50 and Oklahoma at 48.
Huh. I didn't know that. That definitely changed
Mexico,
over the years.
Now that I think about it, New Mexico is pretty bad because they don't have a lot of really big cities. I mean, they have like one city, Albuquerque, and what's really there other than mining?
Yeah, that's true. It's pretty remote there. And
I had friends growing up that were actually from there. It's all there's like meth anymore and shit like that.
yeah, it's very, but I didn't think that the education would be.
Well, there's no
So
money. So education money comes from property tax. So if you don't have a lot of people paying property tax, you don't have a lot of revenue for school funding.
Or they steal that revenue to pay billionaires or give billionaires tax breaks. That way the revenue's not there anymore.
Well, here's another problem too, is across this country, there's such little oversight on people. It was one state out south, like maybe South Dakota or something like that. This lady was in charge of the books and all the billing and everything. She got to basically play with all the finances of the whole county. So whenever money was coming up to go into like fixing potholes and things like that in the county, she would allocate more than half that money to herself and then give the rest of it to that project, or just not okay it to actually get done or anything like that. And here she was funneling millions of dollars to herself, where she was buying up ranches in multiple states, all these prize-winning horses and everything like that, making herself seem like this really rich person. Everybody's like, well, how do you make this money on just like a $50K salary? And eventually she was found out. But they sold everything and they never, recuperated what they lost. And there's multiple states where they had different things like this come up, different people in different positions.
Makes sense. We also have an issue with politicians and private equity, where they don't allow public options, and they have this elitist sort of insider trading racket. Not to mention revolving door politics, where they have big positions and they influence politics because they're getting paid off by like the military industrial complex. And then whenever they retire, they work for the military industrial complex.
Dick Cheney.
Yeah, it's fucked. But
I've never heard of that.
Something needs to be done about it. It's both. It's big. It's Democrats and Republicans.
Well, here's the thing: is it's rich versus poor. I mean, we're sold an illusion of right versus left when it's rich versus poor. The
Right.
poor
Well,
own all the media.
That's true, but it does kind of go into right versus left because the right push this belief that kind of like the poor are there because they're lazy, because they lie about why people are poor, which makes it political.
Well, I think evolutionary. Your right are your soldiers. Your brute soldiers are going to send out into battle and just do your battling. And your left are your tactical thinkers, planners, organizers. People thought out for the city, farming, things like that.
And people that try to take care of the people that are like screwed over by the system, like the
more empathetic toward everybody. And they don't think of themselves. They think of the whole. Where you have your warriors that you need them to protect the rest of them. So they used to work in unity, but now we're divided.
Okay, so one thing that we that we need to keep in mind. Have you guys ever heard of redlining? To where I don't know when I think it was like in the 60s.
Running Rash.
Where
yes,
they would not allow black people to get loans for homes, but they allowed white people to. So they could
After
never
they ended
get into
slavery, they made being homeless a crime and then just locked them all up.
It's still going on. So it just proliferates, over time. It's never stopped.
You're right. And that's why it's bullshit. There's all these right-wing people that are saying like, yeah, but that happened generations ago and there is no problem today that makes where black people. Yes, there is, obviously.
Yeah, 100%.
It still happens.
That were alive during segregation.
That's true. And let's also throw away this, like, just because it's a couple of generations removed means nothing. Do you know how much do you know how much you are impacted by like your great grandparents and theirs? Like a couple of generations is not enough time to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, so to speak.
No, it's not.
It's not enough.
And the racism still, it's still there. It's still here.
The bootstrap thing was a lie to begin with.
Right. I know, but I use it because the right use it and they understand what I mean when I say it.
It worked though. They literally they worked hard and held themselves and went nowhere. They pulled themselves literally by the bootstraps and went nowhere.
Right.
Because it hurts me to see these like coal mining communities. They're still here in PA, like places that just mined coal for like 200 years almost, and like the communities are just destitute, nothing there, like no real convenience for the people. They all look like they just live in ramshackle housing, and it's real destitute looking shit. And everything's toxic. Like the streams there are orange from all the lead and minerals in the water and shit. Like you can't drink none of the water. Everything's just coal ash everywhere. Slag from mining it.
Yep.
Yeah, and people don't think that coal mining did anything to their communities, and they still.
They all have cancer and all kinds of diseases.
Yeah, but they still want it to go on, and then.
The old ones are stubborn like that.
Mountain.
Some people you just can't change. They're just stuck in their ways. They're just stupid.
Not only that, but they kind of make the problem worse because it's not an easy solution. The areas where they have these like coal mining operations, that's the only job available in that area. So
now there's not even that.
Yeah, so it's even worse. But that's why they fought against like environmentalism, because that is their fucking bread. That's their bills paid.
There's nothing else to do in these parts. In those parts.
Well, actually,
it's horrible.
It's carbon. These things could be used for carbon nanotubes, graphite, freaking solar panels, all kinds of for actual production, but we're not actually using it for those productions.
But the thing is that to extract it is going to cost a lot of cash.
They fought against the money that would have actually built that infrastructure. Like the government would have actually supplied an overwhelming amount of money to build these solar plants, factories, and all these things in these areas, which would have put all these people. A lot of the funding for a lot of things, like football stadiums. Did you know they're about 90% taxpayer funded?
No.
And the teams never pay any money back to the community. And And this goes
No.
on for many projects. Like the government literally puts the bill to build many of these huge factories. Like I forget, someplace out west somewhere. Trump planned one. They came in, broke ground, built these huge freaking parking lot basically, and then
No,
abandoned it.
it's usually funded by the bumpers that are really rich. That's usually what funds
No,
stadiums and
rich people
schools
get rich by
and
spending
all.
other people's money.
It's
They don't
not
spend
paid
their
by the
money.
taxpayers.
Oh yeah.
Well, okay.
Most
It's
of the
usually
time when you're
not
told
the boosters. The boosters. That's what I meant. The boosters. So yeah, they
boosters,
put in so much freaking money into it. Yeah, I don't think the taxpayers aren't gonna pay for
They don't
everything.
know about it. It's bribes to the governor, mayors, and then they fucking slip it through and be like, okay, we fund this.
But okay, I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is
Well, that's
whenever
what I'm
you said
talking about.
stadium and sports
Yes.
and
Oh,
stuff
John
like
Oliver
that.
did a whole entire thing about it. It's all about how they get the taxpayers to foot the bill for the whole stadium, and
I
then
don't
they
think
never pay
so.
a
It's gonna
dime
be
back.
like all the.
Well,
It's
you don't
gonna
have
be
to
all the
think
rich
so, but
people.
I've watched the whole like hour and something John Oliver who lays it all out. So I mean, you can go watch it.
I'm curious. I'll look into it. I don't know
Okay,
anything about this.
so
John
okay,
Oliver's good.
Yeah.
so what? Okay,
British.
so how do I look into this, Gadwin?
All right, hang on.
No, because I am curious because that's very interesting. Because I had no idea. I just thought it was like rich people that were boosters, and that's like how they get all their funding.
Nope, it's mostly government funded. Just like most of our technology came from DARPA and NASA. It's not actually like made by these companies.
Well, NASA, yeah, I understand that, which I think is fucking stupid. Because I don't understand why the whole like let's go to the moon again. What's the
What are you
purpose?
talking about? They're the ones that gave us like all kinds of developments in science and like chemical science, material sciences and stuff like that. They're really advancing.
Yeah, I'm just not. I'm
I
not
mean,
a
they're
person.
well,
I think it's just kind of stupid. I
it's
don't
because you don't understand it or you don't want to understand it.
Have you heard of the Election Truth Alliance stuff, Gad?
No, it's about what that Christopher Titus has been going on about.
I don't know. What's he been going about?
The election was
Yes.
rigged.
So, Election Truth Alliance so far has been the only source of information that I think is legitimate that the election could be a fraud. They have some pretty good data.
Well, like all the exit polls and everything, it's like it hits a number and then it just stops and everything goes to Trump.
Right. Well, for that specific, those counties, yes. And, but they have done the best work. Most of the time I look into it and it's like some weird conspiracy stuff and there's really no evidence at the end of it. But this is actually something that's legit, I think. I think at the very least we need to look into it.
Well, Trump's first time doing it was just to get access to everything. So whenever he said all this, because even Giuliani said in court, we're not trying to, prove fraud. They're literally were getting access to the machines, how the whole process was done, everything, so that way they could rig it next time.
I could see
Has
that.
Trump helped Giuliani at all, or has he just left him to rot?
He left him to
I
rot.
haven't heard about him.
He
Yes, hasn't he?
This is something that you'll see throughout history. It's a common thing. Trump surrounds himself with people, and he uses the other people to take the stink off of himself. He'll pin shit. Yes, fall men. That's what he always does. He's probably going to do it to JD Vance and make himself look good.
He's a git.
Mobster.
He's a fucking pleb, that guy.
Yeah,
he's a mobster.
I like the fat comic pic of him.
I think
a guy got deported back to his own country.
I didn't watch it.
Yours.
I didn't watch it, but that's what the video title said. I haven't looked into it though. I don't know how true it is.
I forget where it came from, but his own government held up a picture of it and were whinging about it in their parliament. Type shit.
But I just seen about the Supreme Court now saying that the justice system cannot enforce laws on like Trump and shit like that. Like basically he can do whatever he wants.
Yep. So the Supreme Court went against democracy. We're kind of fucked.
Yeah, they basically
the
dismantled
Supreme Court.
democracy.
Ultimately, they are the decision makers. It's not the president. It's the Supreme Court.
It depends. No, well, that's not necessarily true. So the reason
Normally.
why for
Well,
the
not
reason
anymore.
normally
Supposed to
yes.
be.
So the reason yes, supposed to be agreed. So the reason why for a little bit we had this thing about we have a constitutional crisis is because the executive branch is supposed to say, well, Congress for one is supposed to have a big play, and they're like gone now. Congress don't even matter under this administration. Secondly, the judicial branch, which the Supreme Court is the main power for, when they make a ruling, the president or the executive branch is supposed to be like, okay, that's how this works. But there is no actual force behind it if a president decides to go, fuck that, I don't care. Like they were doing at first when they wasn't listening to
Just ignore the
bringing,
courts.
yes. And so if he were to do that, it would be a constitutional crisis because there is no drawn up way that the Supreme Court can force the president to listen to them.
Everyone before this had a form of decorum where Trump has
Right.
zero decorum.
That's the problem. And the issue that I see is if other people like copycat Trump and it gets worse and worse because we need presidents who are, regardless of right or left, are going to fucking follow protocol and listen to like the checks and balances as we have them drawn up.
Well, and that's where this is weird too, because AI and all these AI gooners are all on sides of Trump. Like they're all like AI is taking over. I'm seeing ads all the freaking time now. AI this, AI that, get AI for this, and it's like Jesus Christ.
I'm still not completely sold because of that thing that I shared that that
Apple.
Yes, and it could be bullshit. I'll admit that because I don't know a whole lot about this. But if Apple's right, it's all a scam. It's all bullshit.
Well, that one I just put was the godfather of AI who actually developed it and actually like did all the actual groundwork for it. And I'd probably go off of his saying versus necessarily Apple.
Yes, but
Apple
I will
has no
say
product of AI, really.
right. That's true.
So they're out to smash AI and trying to say, oh, it's nothing, blah blah blah.
That is true, but also you could say the reverse. The people who are in AI want to prop it up as much as possible because that's how they get their money.
Well,
Okay, I will say on the Supreme Court judges, Trump has appointed, so unfortunately, so many of them, they died on his watch. And so there's so many like Republicans that he has appointed. And so that's also a reason why everything is.
Well, actually, one of them died on Obama's watch, and they would not let Obama appoint a new Supreme Court because they said it was too soon. And they actually waited until after the election to appoint a new one where they had control of the presidency, which was Trump. And then one died at the end, which was like a month before the election, and they rushed through a new judge right before the election saying we need to get this done before the election.
And this is why I point to the left are not the same as the right when it comes to their drive to get things done. The left exactly, and the left, I think they're actually right wingers. They actually want Trump's shit to go through because they don't fight. They don't fight at all. They go, well, there's nothing we can do. We don't have a lead in Congress. When, as you just pointed out, and you can use numerous examples, the right in the same position when they had like less power in the Supreme Court and in Congress, they would fucking make shit happen. The left don't do that now. They don't do shit. They don't try.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Well, and also, so the Supreme Court judges, why are they allowed to be in control until they die? Why don't they like have a certain?
I agree.
Because
a certain like
when this came about, people only lived to about their 60s. Ben Franklin was in his 80s, which he was an anomaly more so.
I mean, they're not in your right mind at 95.
That's true. But even with the case that people didn't live as long, that is still wrong to me because it should have short-term limits like everything else because that keeps corruption from taking root.
They also had dignity where once they felt feeble-minded, they stepped down. They actually had that kind of dignity.
That makes sense.
It's all power grab. The boomer generation is the most narcissistic generation in world history. All they care about is more power for them, more money, and only for themselves.
Right.
Like and that's what we see across like all these CEOs, presidents, Supreme Court justices. Like
So
it's all the same.
So I don't think a generation is just like nature. It can't be, because it takes millions of years for evolution to take course, which means
Well, it's here in
there's-
America more so.
Right. But what I'm looking for is what happened, what political movement or what social contagion happened during the boomers generation that
They
made
call
them that.
nepotism babies.
But why? Like, why did they think this way? What created it?
Well, I think a lot of them were just not raised by their parent. Like, well, a lot of them didn't like. They just partied, and I don't know.
The
They had a
boomer age,
good.
they didn't fucking they didn't party.
There,
Well,
there
yeah,
has to be
it
a
was-
reason for it. I
it
just
was
don't know
after-
what it is.
Like they were too young for the Korean War, because the Korean War started right after World War
I think
II.
I'd like leave it
And-
to Beaver.
Whenever the boomers were actually of age, there was no war until like Vietnam, so they all got to grow up pretty good lives.
Yeah,
They had
that was-
cheap
that was,
housing,
like,
they
the-
had good
was the-
jobs, they had good health care. Like, I mean, affordable health care.
So do you think a lot of it is like entitlement? Like they experienced the best life had to offer, and they started thinking that they deserve everything or
Well,
something?
and there was the mindset too, is they were all told, this is yours, this is yours. And it kind of, whenever the kid grows up, when they're told all their life that this is yours, they become this very needy, like this is mine, mine, mine kind of
Mhm.
person.
Well, and that was the stop point of the segregation movement. Well, yeah, I mean it was, and then everybody was
63 is
divided.
when we ended segregation.
Yeah, and
Well, it didn't
so
go through till 64, but yeah.
yeah, and so well, it's not where I live, but the state that I'm at, it was in Little Rock. Whenever that was like the first place to where like desegregation ended up happening. And oh my gosh, like there was so many people, all of like the white students, they're just like up in arms. No, you can't come in here. I mean, I think they were like fighting them and just like trying to hit them. I mean, it was horrible.
And again, it's not all boomers. It's just there's a lot more of them in that generation, it seems, because of conditions, how they're raised, environmental. And you just create a lot of them, because a lot of them got to grow up in pretty good middle class families who then never had to struggle, who always just had an easygoing life. Everything was provided. They always had full bellies, warm homes.
Yeah.
And create a lot of these
that
people that
definitely
never
was
had
pretty-
hardships.
That was,
So
I
they don't
think,
understand that, and so they can't empathize with others because they don't know those hardships necessarily.
That
Yeah,
makes sense.
because it was after the Second World War, and so everything was kosher, everything was good. It was mom and dad, and
Mhm.
yeah, it was kind of like perfection.
Well, and all the industries are changing from wartime to back to populous. I can't forget. I can't remember the word for it. But turning back into normal industrial businesses, and so then you had all these new brands that there's an open available market where people could start new companies, and it was easy to get going because there wasn't a whole lot of competition,
Right.
or there wasn't one dominant corporation that owned a whole freaking market.
Yeah, so it was pretty much a monopoly.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, there
Well-
was no monopolies. This was after the golden age, the Gilded Age. Gilded
Which-
Age is like the 1800s.
Which
the
is
end of the
why
1800s.
which is why so many people were able to become wealthy, because they
Mhm.
broke up those monopolies. Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible. There isn't enough money to make everyone wealthy.
Well, especially at that time, because it was based off our gold reserves, which was
Mhm.
important after we went up the gold standard in 73.
I think we need to move back to some sort of legitimate standard. We can't go on
There's not enough
debt-based
money.
shit.
There's not enough gold in the world.
Oh, that's the problem. Well, can't
Well-
you use something else, like something that's actually physical that can be tied?
Fiat currency is probably going to, I mean, eventually AI, once the whole system, will probably have one unified currency where it's all monetized by the AI who distributes it and whatever.
After
What
the wealthy
about
try to
Bitcoin?
kill all the poor.
Well, that's actually what Trump's planning to do. That's why he's making it like a crime to like riot or anything like that. Like they can just basically lock you up for life now for basically doing anything, cutting food stamp programs, cutting health, Medicaid, shit like that.
Which is
That's so they can kill
illegal.
the poor. They
It's
wanna kill the
illegal
poor.
by the Constitution, and he's still like this is the thing. Like everybody's like, well, Trump's just another. No, he's not just another president. He's doing more wildly illegal shit than I've ever seen ever in history.
I still think he's a
Yeah.
Russian fucking gooner that's destroying America. He's just dismantling everything, making it basically impossible to recuperate from this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the, if not the worst president of all time. I mean, I don't.
Farming is collapsing across the country. Like,
so normally,
not funny.
if you go by, if your metric for worst president is the what's the something rate, the how much people like them, the what the fuck is that called? It's like a simple term.
Popularity, or something.
Let's just call it that so I don't get stuck. But his unpopularity rating is higher than any president ever since they've started tallying this shit.
What he beat himself. He had the lowest, and then he stopped himself.
He had the lowest in his first term, and his second term beat that.
And these people, they're just stupid. Though. That's where I just give up on humanity pretty much in America.
But the MAGA people, they live in the bubble that's devoid of reason or logic to such an extent they truly believe he's the most popular president, even though the evidence is the opposite.
Yeah, they think he's a god.
It's
I just
so
told
weird.
him no to all at work because I brought up something again because they were like, "Oh yeah, Obama started us fucking Iraq and all this shit." I'm like, fucking Bush is the one that took us in the war. Bush was president when 9/11 happened.
See, that's the perfect example of anti-intellectualism. You get shit talked to you as if it's a negative thing because you know something very basic, and like they fight against it like it makes you like an elitist or something. Like,
I bring up shit all the time because this one guy, I just happened to walk in from vape and he's like, you know how you kill a tree? And I just go, you drive a copper nail into it, and he's like, you drive a and so like I piss him off and shit. Like he wants to be all clever and shit at times. But,
it's hilarious.
The first couple of weeks I just sat there and listened to him. Like every other word was fuck out of his mouth and stuff, so I could just kind of then I evaluate their body language and listen to them. I could evaluate each person.
That's what I do, but see, it seems like you can have fun with them by making fun of them, even if it's only you that understands. I can't do that. When I'm around someone that stupid, I can't I can't just turn it into humor. I don't know why. Like it just.
I'm always. They call me smiling. One lady's like, "Why you always smile? I come in just smiles." Like you gotta make the day what it is. So if you're happy and have a happy mindset, you're gonna have a good day. But if you're in a shitty mindset and you go in there, I hate everything.
Well, see, but that's the thing. I can start in a positive mindset. They create it. They shift it. Like I guess
go
you
right
could.
back to the default happy. I'm a default happy.
I humor myself. Right. In closed doors with other people and just tell them about the stupid shit that other people do.
Well, I'm not intimidated by them either. So, I mean, I tower over most of them, or I'm physically fit. The one guy, like the other day, it was so hot here. It was like 108 fucking degrees in the building. I had just one of those real thin shirts on that was almost translucent to begin with, and I started sweating, and my whole shirt became completely translucent. And the one guy's like, "You're dumping water." What? Why am I dumping water on myself, dude? I'm actually working on like you. It's always just propped up against something.
What's 108 in Celsius? I have no idea of Fahrenheit.
Oh, it's like almost 40 degrees.
Oh, shit.
I can't do Celsius.
Yeah, I gotta convert it.
You can't.
The pussies are doing fine.
42C.
Wow.
They're just not in here with me, which is helpful because I don't get stabbed in the back constantly.
42.2C. Hot.
Oh shit, that's like 108 degrees.
Yeah, that's what I said, 108 degrees. He wanted to know what it was in Celsius. I said around 40.
That's fucking hot.
I was just looking at it. Yeah, no, that's horrible. Yeah. No,
and then it was 70% humidity, which made it, I mean, it was almost like there's like a heavy blanket on you while you're, it's already hot.
Yeah,
it's even worse for me.
Sucks.
Yeah, that's horrible. Then you just sweat your ass off and it just hovers there. And
yeah, my underwear was soaked, shorts were soaked, shirt was just like, had to peel my socks off even. It was like,
yeah, that sucks. It's even worse if you have a natural, like everyone has a baseline. My baseline temp is like quite a few degrees higher than your average person. Like,
yeah,
my ex-girlfriends would use me as like a personal warmer if it was freezing.
Yeah.
because to
I
me the
think
cold
snowballs
isn't
gonna
really
melt in my
cold.
hands.
Yeah, exactly. So what that means, it's great if it's cold, because I can go out in a tank top when it's fucking really fucking cold and it don't bother me. But the opposite is also true. I can't handle heat. It fucking kills me.
I can handle the heat, but unless if I'm working in it, no, that's when my body temperature just
Yeah.
spikes, and then I just sweat bullets.
So I've had like shirts before, and you sweat so much that like the salt comes out of your body, and it just
Hmm
your shirt
I've
just
had hats
turns
that
like
turned white,
white.
like the whole bill was white.
It's freaking, yeah, it looks disgusting, but yeah, that's what
It's
ends up
But just think
happening.
about your sweat is actually just piss.
Piss.
Well,
urea. Yeah,
Yeah.
urea.
Is it?
85,
yeah,
90%. Yeah, 95%.
I don't know
yeah.
anything about
So
that.
Yep.
if you end up
So if you
sweating
ever
so much, you
tasted
don't
your
even have
sweat,
to
you tasted your
piss.
piss.
You don't even have to though, just because all of your water is coming out of you, so you
Well,
don't even
yeah,
have to
that's
piss.
why you don't urinate much when you're sweating a lot.
Yep,
I guess
exactly.
that makes sense.
It's using it as a
So
cooling device.
I
The
didn't
salt
watch
makes
it,
the
but I
temperature
saw a
change.
video that was entitled, "Why do people keep saying that urine is what's the word? Like you can fucking sterile?" It says that it's not
For
true.
a
I
little
don't
bit.
know. I don't
No,
know if it's true or
no, it's
not.
Sterile
not.
for like
You
a
have to
certain
boil it,
time.
obviously.
Well, no, it's sterile from like right when you piss it out, but it's after you piss it out, it becomes non-sterile.
Hmm.
So like if you're taking it, like if you're in a survival situation, you're pissing straight into a bottle and then like drinking
Don't
that,
save
that's
it.
sterile.
But yeah, I mean, if you're in dire situations, I mean, what else are you gonna do?
No, if it's like dark yellow, don't drink it. Now, if it comes out clear, then drink it.
Oh,
I'm
You
in
don't
the
want
good
any of it.
driest
lord, that's
state, in the
disgusting.
driest
Why the fuck
continent
would
on the
you
planet,
try?
and I haven't had to drink my own piss yet. So I'd like to think that you guys are safe from having to drink your own piss or
You
anybody
think
else's.
that until your whole entire water system shuts down in your cities or stuff like that because of, not have funding
But
or,
you're in the most powerful, richest country on the planet,
I'm
Gads.
in the
How can
greediest
this
country
happen
in the
to
world,
you?
not the
I'm
richest.
So
I'm talking about like war-torn like countries, and somebody is going, a week without water.
Melody
You're
wants
in
to
the
drink her
I mean,
piss.
that's all you have to
war-torn
do. That's
Gads.
all you have.
Gads
Not
does
here.
bring up a valid point. So a lot of people look at the total amount of like GDP that a country produces and says they're wealthy. That does
No.
not necessarily apply to every citizen, because we're also the greediest.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
in other words, like the people that are poor here are pretty fucking poor, and the people that are
Mhm.
doing
Yeah.
well are very, very well.
But that
Yep.
doesn't
I
have
would
anything to
say
do with
the
our water
EU
supply.
is more wealthy overall as people, how their standard of living is compared to Americans than America.
I don't know. I don't know enough
They
about
got
it.
basic health care. They get like mandatory 3 weeks paid vacation. They get like mandatory 7 days sick days. Like they have like all kinds of public welfare. Basically, they make sure the welfare is like going to university. I mean, some places actually pay you to go to university.
Welfare is
All those
pretty
rich
good.
Norwegian,
It's pretty good
Swedish
here.
countries, which got like free energy because they're running off of geothermal
Yeah.
currents and shit. So they don't pay for energy, and they're getting free healthcare and free education.
hell
They're all
yeah.
up from
That's
day one.
awesome.
To me, that is wealthy.
It's easy to be poor.
I agree.
It's easy to
So
be poor
That's
in
every
Australia.
citizen.
You don't have to do shit if you don't have a job. In Australia, like everything's for free. You don't have to
No,
do shit.
he's Norwegian.
You can
That's Scandinavia.
survive in Australia,
Yeah,
but
it's
you can't
true.
live in
That's
Australia.
what I.
In Norway and Sweden, those countries, I can't remember which exact ones, but mate, they get all the perks, and rightly so. They don't have to, self-generating this energy. So that's a
They have
big cost
empathy for
that
their fellow
citizens don't have
man.
to pay for.
that's the important thing. So I didn't know what you just said about the UK. I thought they were closer to America. They're closer to the Scandinavian countries, it seems, that in actually giving a shit about the downtrodden and like everybody.
The
Mate,
UK is
crime
actually the
rates
most
are
leftist.
minimal. It's full on.
Yeah,
I like it.
healthcare is
Ireland, now
pretty
stay
much
away
free.
from Ireland. They have a high crime rate. Ireland has a lot of drunk fighting people, stabbings.
I thought
UK
healthcare was
seems to
pretty
be
much.
worse off lately, but yeah, I wasn't talking about them, but where the
Yeah,
Vikings were.
I said the EU, so I was talking about the European Union. So
Oh, I thought you was talking about the UK.
nope, that's excluding them now. So I'm talking about the EU. So that's France all the way over to like
healthcare is
Lithuania.
pretty much free too.
Yeah, no, and I was talking about specifically the rich countries in Europe. Up
Yeah,
the
the
top.
Scandinavians.
Yeah, that's it. That area.
Finland, Netherlands.
Finland.
Denmark, Sweden.
Norway, yeah.
They've got it made over
Norway
there.
Well, they understand that people had to struggle a lot there because I mean that's harsh conditions, so they more empathize with their fellow man probably.
Right. Well, also their economy is stirred. We have this belief in the States that if you socialize more, it just makes everybody poor. The Scandinavian or the countries show that is absolute bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing it changes is it makes it to where all of the fucking wealth isn't liquidated up to the top of like a couple of 1%ers. It actually spreads it out more.
America was conned. Like, conned into
So there's more middle
capitalism.
class people. There's more.
You
like
have to
middle
also
class
take into account you can drive across one of these countries in like half a day.
That is true.
Pretty freaking small.
That's
Like,
valid.
Well,
I was in
that's why I
Germany, and we
compared
drove
the
from one
EU
side of Germany
with the
across
US.
Denmark to Legoland and back in a day.
That is
Yeah,
true.
They are
And
very small.
people will bring that up a lot, and population difference, all that. It does matter, but I will say this bullshit that we're sold that because we're so much larger and everything, it's absolutely impossible to enact these sort of. That's bullshit. We could, if we wanted to, we could change.
Plus, you have
That's
to
why you have the wealth.
like every single
You
different.
just
Right.
need to spread it properly.
Well,
We have
yes, that's
It's
true.
how you break it down.
And
You
it's
have
not
to break it down into
socialism.
dukedoms.
It's just normalism.
Yeah.
If you think of Europe like dukedoms, like each country is a dukedom of the whole EU itself. Just like the United
It's like
States,
your
each
version of
state
states.
is a dukedom. Yeah, exactly, is a dukedom of the United States. So you just think of both of them, but which actually Europe has double the population. They have like 720 million people versus our 340 million people.
Right.
Cool. I did not know that. Awesome.
But like I said, all of these single countries, they've got the same laws. Within our country, the states can make their all individual. You know,
The EU's like the federal
So,
government over
yeah,
there.
laws-
So that's
laws are
like each
completely
state
different.
puts representatives towards their like House of Representatives and stuff like so. It's like they have kind of the same structure as the United States, but it's over
not
all the
it's not gonna
countries.
be- I don't think so. It's so each country they're going to have like the same laws. It's not going to be individual states.
They have their own
We've got
laws,
50
and then they
states.
have the EU's main laws that blanket over all them.
I'm just talking about different. So the countries, it's all the same. They've got the same law within each country. For us, we have laws for 50 states, and they are all different, and so that makes it a lot more. It's so much more
No,
difficult.
they have
That's-
the exact same
that-
as us.
That's both true and false. So we have state laws, and we also have federal laws that apply to all states. So it's like
Well, that's
both.
true. That is true. Yes.
That's what I was explaining. That's how the European Union works. Same thing. They all have
Okay.
their own individual laws, but then they have the EU laws that blanket over all of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's the same then, basically.
Yeah, it's basically the same structure as us. It's just they're called countries where we're called states.
And they actually give a shit about people.
Yeah.
So when is Mama Dingo moving to North Carolina? Like next week? She coming to move into my house?
North Carolina.
Well,
Yeah.
our kids are here reading this, so I don't know.
So,
Don't make Charles
Mama
pull his banjo
Dingo,
out.
where are you at right now? If you don't mind me asking, what state are you in?
Who?
Oh, Mama Dingo. So she's moving to North
So,
Carolina.
think of the name. Read the name and then think where do you think she's from?
Well, I would say definitely Australia because I
think I ate my baby.
That's funny.
We
We
said that
it
at the same time. You and me a fucking coke.
Now I've got everybody all confused. I was just bullshitting it. Like I was, she just said that she's excited to move, and I was joking and saying that she's moving
Okay.
here.
You know what? I'm
She's
so
just
gullible.
being
I
a
just I
prick
take
to me,
everything.
guys. That's about it.
I take everything at face
Passive
value.
aggressive
So
crap.
yeah, I'm gullible as shit.
He's gonna be in
So
the doghouse tonight.
Don't worry, Audie. You can come move in.
Tonight.
You can move in with me, Aud. We'll have butt sex together.
Mate, she already
Just
thinks
don't
we
mind
are.
the aroma.
That was a hilarious one.
I'd seen that. I was like, oh, that's perfect.
Dude, it fit. I was like, change my mind.
And there's an aroma.
oh God, here we go.
I don't think that would stop me. Nope.
Melody's getting excited. I could hear it in her voice there. She smiled.
I'm just I'm just sighing over here. Like
We've
Oh,
got
I
to
see
we've got to
Let's not
start
talk
talking about religion again, so she can start talking about sex.
Oh, I know
how
Melody.
does
She wants to do the
religion
reverse cowgirl anal.
Because every time we talk about religion, you start talking about different sects of religion, and then you go, "Oh!"
I know. I say that every single time.
And every time you make it a bigger deal than any of us.
I know.
There's
I know.
Rat.
I'm so silly. I know that's what I do.
Once the butt stuff gets started, Rash is like, Jesus Christ, every fucking time, man.
But the thing is
More
okay,
cowbell.
so I'm talking to guys, and so I know that guys, and they usually turn it into something different. So if it was, that's just
Melody, do you like to go
stuff like
mudding?
It's true that usually happens, but you can't deny that it's your brain that's creating it because you jump on it before anyone else, which makes you the pervert.
Oh, okay, wrong. It's okay. No, it's because I've had it happen so many times. That's why it doesn't make me the pervert.
You work
I
around
know.
that.
I'm
Because
just
because
fucking with
I've
you.
had the experience. So yeah. So that's why.
Wait,
No,
what
not the
experience are you
pervert.
talking
It's yeah, fucking freaks.
Fucking freaks.
Oh,
Audie,
you know
what
you are.
you got to
If you
get
see
Dingo
your
up
drawer,
here again.
Melody.
She only came on once, I think.
Oh, she did? I've never heard her. Oh yeah, she's going to North Carolina.
I think she did.
Yeah, Melody, you're the
Don't
one who
know
brings
what
up
her
butt stuff every time.
fascination is with me on your stream, mate.
What?
I don't know what her fascination is with me on your stream.
Fascination.
I don't know. You hinted that there's a relation, so I mean it makes sense that she kind of jumps in and follows you. Maybe she's fucking with you. I don't know.
She monitoring
Who's
you
fascinated by
for
you?
your good boy.
Maybe you're fucking saying maybe.
Believe me, I
Who's
used to have an
fascinated by
attachment
you
to
though?
monitor to everything I did.
She's probably trying to embarrass you. She's trying to find ways.
Of course. It's
Oh, yeah.
mate.
That's part of marriage.
She
I
brought
don't
up
really
that
feel that bad.
that you wanted to have butt sex with me. I think I saw something like that.
I
Mate,
didn't
she
see
calls
anything like that.
Mal
He's
Mallory
butt sex.
because she thinks I want to have butt sex with him, and he's married and in Wales.
Where you should Mal needs to be here for that one. I want to hear his reply.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Mal is usually pretty like monotone, so it would be
Yeah,
hilarious if you got him like really hardcore.
Oh, nice. I've only heard him once or twice. You can't have any reason to think he's a bad guy. He's never said
Right.
anything mean.
I like. Well, so
awesome.
that's where we disagree. Well, maybe we
He's
do.
always
I don't
been
know.
good.
So
I haven't heard him anyway.
I don't like that people usually have this belief that someone is good if they're nice to me. That's not necessarily true because most of the bullshit lying like piece of crap type people will go out of their way to manipulate you into thinking that they're great people.
Oh,
So-
well, I just don't have a reason to think anything bad of him.
That's absolutely true.
Not necessarily.
No, I wouldn't say it's always. I agree, but there's a high correlation for sure. Like
if you're chat friends with somebody, they're not gonna just like go over there and like fuck with you and be like oh and then mess with you later. Well,
True.
I mean, that's not actually true.
That's true, but it doesn't
sometimes
matter.
People do.
But so what you said is true, but whether or not they fuck with you does not necessarily mean they're good or bad. Like someone can fuck with me and I can still think they're great people, or vice versa. Like, because they're nice does not mean they're good, is my point.
Yeah,
Not
Absolutely.
you can draw that conclusion across the board. So yeah, 100%.
Absolutely, but I've been chatting quite pleasantly with you people for more
Right.
than a few years now. So if I
That's true.
can't get on a stream
You
and
don't know
have
what
a
people are
chat
doing.
with you,
Well,
when
yeah,
I don't have
so
to even show my face,
you're right, but
you know?
so what you're describing is different than what I'm describing, because you're not making an automatic assumption based on, like, just because they're
No.
nice and you don't know them. You've known us for a while, and that's different.
Well, pretty much.
Right.
You know,
Oh,
it's not
sure.
like I trust you with my kids. You know,
Yeah.
like, but I
You're
probably
talking about
trust
meeting
you with
somebody
my
at the
kids
freaking
more
gas
than a
station?
stranger off the street. But you know, I still don't
Yeah.
know yous.
Well, I
know yous
don't
at
think
all, like
no,
that way.
for me personally, and I know you don't know this, no one should trust me with their kids, not because I'm like a pedo or anything, not because of that, but because I don't
You
know
don't
how to
like
explain it. Yes, in general, I don't like kids. I only like my own kids. So I'm not a kid person.
That's
I'm the
me.
So
same way. Like anybody's like,
Yeah.
"Go hold my kid," I'd always be like, "No," and I get this look like, "What? You disrespected me not holding my kid?" And it's like, I just don't want to hold your kid.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
a kid person either.
That's not disrespecting. In fact, it's entitled of them to think that you should hold their kid just because what? Like, this
Mhm.
is my child, that you owe it to them? No. Like,
Now my
My
kids, I would
point is,
sleep
it's
with
a
them laying
total
on my belly and stuff.
different type of trust compared
Right.
to on chat. You know,
yeah,
Like,
that's
so
true.
you analyze that in a different way.
I agree.
So
That's true.
I told my friend last weekend, she's like, hey, why don't you come over and we can chat? And so I said, but she told me that she had her 4-year-old there because she has them like off and on, with her significant other. Well, she's divorced, but I said, nah, I would rather it just be us two because he's going to be like very needy because it's that age. He's 4 years old, so I declined to come over and hang out with her, which I mean, to some people that might be selfish and rude and nasty, but I don't really feel like being around a kid like that young, and
There's
When
nothing
I
wrong
was-
with that.
But
When I was like 16, 17, I had a friend, like we'd always have to play Xboxes like hooked up the actual cords. We didn't have internet yet. This was like dial up, but not before good internet. So we'd always go over there and play Halo and shit. And he had 4 or 5 kids. I can't remember, but they were like 9 or 10, all the way down to like the littlest one crawling, just all through the house while we're all trying to play Halo. Kids everywhere. This
Mhm.
freaking 9-year-old would get on Halo and just kick the shit out of all of us. And we're just like, what the fuck is going on with this?
So that's one of the big reasons why I'm not a kid person. My personality is I'm very open and impulsive. I just say shit that comes into my mind. When I want to talk about butt sex, I talk about butt sex. So when there's children around, it makes me like lock up. I can't be myself, and I fucking
Exactly.
hate it. I
You-
hate
It's
it.
like when I'm
You
around my
become
grandmother,
so
I have the
cute.
auto filter goes on. Like,
Yeah,
I will
yeah.
not
That's
curse
why I
or
don't like it
nothing.
either.
Yeah, but mine don't work automatically, so I have to focus on not being impulsive, which makes the whole thing suck. It just I hate it.
You
Well, yeah,
almost. I
it's
mean, you have to be
draining.
fake. You can't be your
Yes,
own self.
exactly. That's another good point.
Yeah, to me, it's just not fun, and so that's why I declined to hang out with my friend a couple of weeks ago. Because, and like I mean, it might be rude, but she's like, well, at least you're honest, which I am honest. I get to the point. I'm freaking blunt. But
I disagree that it's rude. It's not rude.
Well, it isn't rude. I mean, I felt like maybe it would be rude to her, but I was
Yeah.
honest and upfront with her, and she said, "Well, I appreciate your honesty." And then she didn't talk to me for a few days, and then it was like, "Oh my gosh, she hates me." But she was like, "No, no, no, it's all good." But
People go over
I
it
just
quick.
I didn't want to go over
Well, she
there.
lied. She was offended, but
Maybe,
No,
but the way
no,
I look at it,
she
if
wasn't.
a person is offended by something I personally don't find offensive, fuck them. Then they're not my friend. They're not worth my attention if they're going to be like that.
well,
So
I noticed
that's
a
how
lot
I
of
look
people
at it.
like that nowadays. Like that's
She was
why I
cool
don't
with
even really
it.
have many friends. Like I'd only consider like you guys, Rash, the only about friends because the ones I did have, they only seemed like it was about them. The only times
Mhm.
I was worth anything is when they needed something like me to help them. Or
that's my exact same experience. And also there's and people hate it when I bring this up, but it's true. There is a high correlation with intelligence and lack of having a smaller circle. And it actually, it's perfect as it goes up. The higher the IQ goes, the more likely, and on the really high end, people tend to be extreme loners. It's just,
I don't need
that's
people
how it
for
is.
anything really for the most part. It's just
Yes, part of it is independence, but some people would make the counterclaim no one's truly independent in this day and age because other people make your clothes and whatever. To me, that's changing the point or changing the topic or changing the goalposts, because that's not what we mean when we say that. We mean that we don't have to socialize with people. We don't have to deal with them for our basic needs and shit anymore like we used to.
Like grovel for food.
Yes. And I think the world's better because of it. Well, in certain ways, it depends on who you are. Social people don't like it.
Now, see, for me, I can look back, I can just like close my eyes and I can just see from the dawn of time all the way up to now, like the suffering of all humanity, basically. It's kind of fucked up. And like I could feel that, and that makes me empathetic toward other people, because I feel the suffering of people that like begged and starved and just slaughtered for countless reasons.
Yes, and also the higher your level of empathy and lack of divisive tribalism, I would call it, like being a nationalist, for example.
Yeah, I don't see lines.
Then you don't apply your empathy only to the people in your proximity. And then you actually give a shit about, say, the genocide in Gaza because they're people, right?
Well, and that's always me. Is like I care about all people. I don't want people to be dying out of any nation. It's like it's useless. We gotta stop these rich assholes that just want power and more control over us from having power and control over us.
We haven't heard much about Gaza for a week.
Trump's,
oh, sorry.
Benjamin Netanyahu's like, these people do not deserve power and should be ran out of power by the people at hand, because that's the only thing that's going to save this world, is keeping people like them out of power.
Yep. The problem is there's so much brainwashing on the other side. And not to mention, anytime a region gets surrounded by war and conflict, or even cultural conflict, it makes people more right-leaning. So it's so hard to fight that. It's so hard to win in this battle.
It's an information war too, and whenever people feel like they've been attacked, they want to know who the point that anger at. And if you give them, somebody that be angry at, like Bush did with Muslims after 9/11, like you just see now across America, people anti-Muslim, and it wasn't necessarily a Muslim ideology. It was a country. Well, it was a group in a country that was pissed off at us, which most of the funding still came from the Saudi Arabia. And we never
and a lot of people
done anything about that.
Think everybody that's Muslim is horrible, and they're all fucking like terrorists. Well,
that's what they tried popping off to me at work the one day, and they're like, Obama's a secret Muslim, and he has a necklace that says he's a secret Muslim, and it's in a book. And I'm like,
how could you fucking believe that? Like, serious? How can you get that idea in your head and take it seriously?
But I could tell. Well, these are the brainwashed right wingers. I mean,
what the fuck?
Conspiracy theories. And his first name is Brock, so that means that he's a terrorist.
The next day I went up to him, and I did tell Rash about it, and I was like, "Yeah, I went home. I was talking to my Muslim buddy about it, and him and I each had a good laugh about it."
Yeah, but in their head, you'll bring up the valid points that's absolutely retarded based on nothing, and they think like, oh, you're just saying that because you're on the left. You'll defend him no matter what. For me, the fuck no. I am not an Obama fan. Like, he is like a right-winger to me, and I criticized so much about him. Don't get me wrong, because I think he's the best orator of any president in recent history, but he's not necessarily a good person, and he created a lot of fucking wars and conflict in the world. He's not a good dude.
Which I would have laughed if they would have seen. We had this guy come on third shift. He was an ex-convict. He converted to Islam while I was in prison. And if they would have seen him, I don't think they would have said one fucking word to him, because he actually wore the wrap on his head.
That's interesting. I watched a video documentary about Islam in prisons in America. And from what people would say, even the white nationalists would say, they're the most powerful group in all of the prison system. If you're a Muslim, no one fucks with you because they're so tight knit. If you do anything against any of their members, they will all fuck you up, like way more than any other group.
Not in Guantanamo Bay.
Maybe not in Guantanamo, but in general,
Well,
everybody wanted to become Muslim.
Well, I was all good with
so in a
them.
prison system, it's each different race. So you have the brown people, the
Right.
white people, yeah, just like different.
Tribalism becomes real in prison.
That's true that it becomes sort of about race, but they're also
It's completely race.
If there's another group identity that trumps it for those people, then it takes precedence. For example, Muslims. That's not a race, but that trumps the race deal in prison, at least in some circumstances.
And then in the future will be cyborgs. So we'll have people like half robot and half human in there, and they'll be in the gang.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of religion that ends up happening in prison. So they just say, oh my gosh, like everything that I've done.
You ever notice how
I've murdered 3 people, but now I'm religious and I take God into my hands.
Well, no, they were religious before that. But something like 95% of people in prison are religious.
Really?
Oh yeah, of course. Because
most people in prison are religious.
That's how they make what they've done okay.
Is it what they claim, or do they actually believe, do you think?
It's what they came from. So basically, a lot of people with religion, I can do things and then be forgiven, especially Christianity.
They've got nothing else to do except for read a couple of books. And
but I'm not talking they came religious because of prison. I'm talking they were religious before going to prison.
Oh, okay. So I was thinking of it backwards.
But they're still in prison. Prisons, like the population of people in prison are like 99% religious or something like that. It's like atheism is almost non-existent in a prison.
Interesting.
I mean, you have to follow the grain. You have to follow what everybody else is doing. Otherwise, I mean, and like I said,
not Christianity.
Stop.
There is nothing to do.
I'm fucked if I go to prison.
Why?
I can't keep my mouth shut.
I refuse to pretend. So if I end up dead, I end up dead. Like I might become like a white nationalist to survive, but I will not pretend to be a theist. Period.
Well, and there's a lot of people. No, that's not true, Gads. That people tend to not be atheists because I mean, there's a lot of people that do.
Atheists. Less than 1% of inmates identify as atheists.
But I would think that they would. I mean, they stick together in a group. They all they have their. I mean,
they probably get picked on because they're so small. Like, what can you do with a 1% group?
They have their cliques. Always, you have to, and it's usually
Click, boom.
I could see it if, like you were saying, if it's about race instead of religion. Then you could use the race thing to get away from having to join a religion for protection or whatever, if that's what you're doing it for.
Imagine seeing like a Jewish gang in freaking prison. And their little curly kids coming down, like they're gonna shank you, but they have like a white beater on. The rabbis.
That'd be hilarious.
I don't think Jews are gonna make it too much in prison.
Oh yeah.
Well, they don't have to because they're rich. I'm just kidding.
They're rich.
They just pay their way out.
That is definitely the stereotype for
I know.
Well, see, we actually had rabbis. So we had this town where it had a place called Empire Kosher, big chicken plant, and it had rabbis in there. So basically, they say a prayer to the chicken, then slice its throat. That's what makes it kosher. Literally, they say a prayer to it and kill it.
Huh. I thought there was more to it than that.
No, that's all kosher is. So they just bless the shit.
Wow.
And it has to be done by a rabbi. And so
See,
they're in
go ahead.
town, and when they go to like a convenience store, grocery store, or anything like that, if it's a woman teller, they will not hand the money directly to her hand. They'll lay it on the counter and make her pick it off the counter. But if it's a man, they'll hand it right to him.
What the hell?
So you got a lot of people disliking them because how chauvinistic they are and shit like that.
Well, there's a lot of valid reasons, but they hide behind this anti-Semitism bullshit. Like they've always done this. It's not just now. they have certain things that you should be able to critique. You should be able to critique anything in the world. I don't care what it is.
Yeah, if you're being
but
a
you
sexist
start
asshole, fuck you.
well, yes, but also like to me, I'm just going to be honest. I don't care if people call me anti-Semitic because I know I'm not, but it's the worst religion in the world from my standpoint because it, from a psychological point of view, it pushes people to be more entitled and to be the quote chosen ones more than any other religion. It's wrong.
It's based off the Old Testament, which is very barbaric.
Right.
Jesus is the New Testament, and Muhammad's is another basically New Testament to the Old Testament.
Right.
The Quran.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you look at how barbaric the Old Testament was, where it's basically sell your daughters for livestock and silver, treat women as property, all this stupid bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And they still apply it to today's norms, modern day.
So I've seen it go in two different ways. Some people go, the Old Testament is just as valid as the Old Testament. And some people do this new covenant thing where after the New Testament, that a new covenant like came into being that basically abolished all of the Old Testament.
Well, exactly. So in the Old Testament, if you wanted to pray to God, you had to donate silver or a sacrifice.
Because he needs all that gold and silver.
Well, the temple did. They had a fucking racket at the temple. David,
right.
People would literally show up daily. They would pay you in like Roman currency for a silver coin that you could use to go pray with. And then you went up, it was called a shekel.
Yeah.
They would take that shekel and then they would donate it and make a prayer with that. Now, other people would actually go out to a valley called, what the hell is it called now? Especially the G, Gomorrah. Valley called Gomorrah, which translates basically to hell. It's basically they burn their trash and sacrifice like children, animals, things like that to make their prayers. So like Abraham, when he sacrificed his son, people were actually out there just literally sacrificing their kids for like wealth and shit.
That's fucked.
And when Jesus seen that, he was like, "That's hell." And people took it as like a literal place where people would burn all this. And he's like talking about, no, that's like they're burning trash and sacrificing people. That's like disturbing. That's hell. Like, but they make it as some burning afterlife that you go to and all that shit. Like, there's no, you never say anything about a hell. It's like so much mistranslations or misconstrued information. It's.
While we have a brief break, I want to let Rash have some time. I don't know if you had something specific, which is why you wanted to join or what, but we only have like 35 minutes left. So if you got anything.
Oh, no, you were talking about Muslims, so I thought I needed to represent that.
I figured that's what it was. Well, to be fair, it wasn't really a negative thing. It was like a brotherhood of, at least according to the video I watched, if it's accurate, in the United States, at least, the Muslim groups in prison tend to be the most defensive of each other. They don't like look at each other like, yeah, who cares? That's just Bob. Like they're like brothers.
I sent you a demographic breakdown of prison by religious population. I
saw that. I briefly pulled it up. I can't really totally look through it because I'm incapable of doing two things at once. But
I was trying to do the same.
I can't do it. Like I'm too ADHD.
I saw it was only 1% Muslim though.
Well, it's not necessarily about the like they're a minority, but they're powerful. Like no one fucks with them, at least according to this documentary.
Oh wait, okay, Muslims. Okay, wow. While Muslims make up only about 1% of general population, they represent a significant high proportion of prison population, with estimates ranging from 9% in state prisons to 18% in federal prisons.
Is that because they're targeted, like they're profiled against, or what?
Because
I think
they're
people
black.
Conversions.
No,
Maybe.
remember the prison population is mostly black, and
well,
Muslims
approximately
in America
51%
tend to have
Protestant.
more black people than white people. So
is that true?
I
don't know. Like, is there more African American Muslims in the United States? I don't know.
There are a significant amount of it's all in northern Africa?
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
there's
let
a
me
lot
let
of
me
African
reword it. Let
folks.
me reword it. So, big picture is the percentage of, if you know this answer, is the percentage of African American Muslims greater than the percentage of African Americans total in the United States?
No.
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 It's more.
Okay.
It's more Christian African American.
Okay, that makes sense. But there's that's actually another bad way. My brain's fucked. So I shouldn't have even worded it like that. So there's
they're all
more
like in
just total
Africa. They're not like,
Muslims. There's more African American Muslims percentage wise than there is of any other ethnicity in the United States.
no,
No.
In
no,
jail.
because most of them, they're not coming here. I mean, African Americans here, no, that they don't come here. They're not. I mean, there aren't that many. I would say that African Americans, they're not subject to that. They're going to be Christians.
Mm-hmm.
It's so. I mean, they would have to come directly
Go to
from Africa
Milwaukee.
to be
We brought a
Muslim.
bunch of African refugees in and gave them basically homes and stuff. So they set up their own little communities up in Milwaukee, and that's where most of your Muslim population actually is here in the United States.
Are they making my beer?
Well, and they would probably try to convert them
You like
over
old
to
Milwaukee's best too.
No.
Oh.
My favorite is actually, I can't think of the fucking name. I haven't drunk beer in a long time.
It's been a long time for me. I used to have an old buddy. Well, it's funny is it was my friend's dad, but then I just more hung out with his dad because his dad was cool as shit. He's like old. He was a military vet and shit like that. Just always just doing crazy shit. So I just hung out with him instead of his
Right.
son.
Makes sense. Yingling is the name I was looking for. Yingling is my favorite beer.
Ooh,
I love it.
Yeah, a lot of people like that.
Lagers are just too heavy for my gut. I don't have the guts for drinking.
I'm that way with the strong shit. Like craft beer here in Asheville is really popular, and it tends to be really stout. I don't like that shit. It's so potent.
I don't like it thick like a syrup dumping down
But
my
to
throat.
me, Yingling isn't that potent. It's kind of like a watered downish, you know?
I don't like the hops.
I don't like the taste of beer. So Old Milwaukee
Right.
was more of a sweet kind of beer for me. I always like that. That's why
Milwaukee is best.
Yep, Old Milwaukee.
I used to drink that when my dad, because he drunk Milwaukee's best.
They're powder cans. They were like white and red cans.
What about Natty Light?
I haven't tried that.
That's so fucking redneck. No, that's some redneck shit. Right.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh, I hear the guys at work talking about Pat's Blue Ribbon and fucking Natty Ice and shit. We always called Natty
Ice. Oh, is that what you were bringing up? That shit is so nasty. It's the cheapest shit you can buy. But
exactly.
I bought it sometimes just because I wanted to get drunk, and I was like, I didn't have much money going, so I did drink it sometimes, but not if I had a choice.
Oh, I made a complete fool of myself one time. I bought a case of that thinking I was cool, like 17 years old. When I was with this girl and this other guy, and we were playing quarters, and I just ended up drinking a shitload. I fucking remember I stood up, walked out of the kitchen, just fucking projectile vomited all over their living room, and then fell and knocked the coffee table over on myself.
It did. It does have a really strong alcohol content. That's a plus for it.
I woke up and this kid's like, "You made a mess," and started punching me in the face. And
drinking alcohol is generally cognitive dissonance, right? Because everybody knows that alcohol dissolves the cells in their body, so they know it's a poison and harmful.
To an extent. So it is true that it goes through your cells and damages cells. However, it takes quite a bit of alcohol to get to that point, and that's something that a lot of people don't factor. Like,
it's definitely diluted down. It's not straight. Exactly. It's not the solvent that you see in a chem lab.
Right.
They show you dissolving fatty. Exactly.
Right. And to be fair, you didn't say that. I just have to throw that in because a lot of people do think that. They're like, yeah.
But essentially, also, you're drinking something that dissolves what you are made of.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take a lot. We agree. We absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
But
if you take pineapple juice has a bacteria and it literally eats your flesh. That's why you get that tingling feeling in your mouth.
Did you say pineapple?
Yeah, pineapple has a flesh-feeding bacteria in it. Like
The
juice.
hell?
I only have it when it's got
Okay,
bits on a
you're just
pizza, so I
fucking
don't
around.
have much of that.
Is that myth true that it makes your semen taste sweet?
I could ask Google,
Asking
but
the
I don't
wrong
want to type it
person,
in.
brother.
I'll do it.
Oh my god. Well, but that doesn't make any. So pineapple is bad for you? That's some bullshit, straight up. Don't
There is
believe
no
it.
scientific evidence to support this claim.
No, that's some bullshit. Gads. Wrong.
He didn't say that it. What?
What?
Yeah.
Oh, an enzyme.
Yep.
Sorry. That
Oh,
called
you're
enzyme.
talking. Oh, you're talking about the flesh-eating thing. I thought you were
Yeah.
talking
I was
about
thinking it
the
was tomato
pineapple semen.
bacteria,
I
but
thought you were
okay,
talking about.
it's
No,
an
I thought you were
enzyme
talking
in the
about the
juice.
fruit.
Oh, hang on, I'm getting the
It's not the
information.
fruit.
It's in the fruit, yeah, it's in the juice, but it's an enzyme that breaks down flesh.
No, it doesn't. So it's a
It
flesh
breaks,
eating.
well, it
So
breaks down the proteins.
but you said that it eats, so it's going to eat us like a flesh-eating bacteria or something. And now you're turning it into it eats up the good
Well,
bacteria.
it's basically the same thing. There is
So
bacteria
it
that
eats
eats
the
your
good
flesh.
bacteria or the bad bacteria?
Well,
Which
I was
one?
thinking it was a
Good or
bacteria in
bad?
the
Good or
juice,
bad?
but no,
Good
it's
or
an
bad? Good or
enzyme.
bad?
Now, hang on, I could try it so he can pop it up on screen for you.
I'm
What
going to
is it?
say flesh eating is a bad bacteria.
Yeah.
Give me a second. I can't do two things at once.
Leprosy was considered a bad disease.
Oh, I could just use the whole Discord as a present deal.
Nobody wants to be a fucking leper.
Yeah, definitely.
You want to be a
Half a shekel for an
leprechaun.
old ex-leper. Ex-leper.
Is that even
All right.
does anybody even have that anymore? Leprosy?
Up
Did we
there-
put them all on an island and blow it up? Oh, sorry.
I'm not going to scroll up on this because it shows Gadwin's dick. He sent me a dick pic
Ew,
a little bit
y'all are
earlier.
Disgusting.
So
I remember that.
can't.
You
So
guys are showing nudes.
hey, there's
Hang
nothing wrong with that.
Hey, we gotta
Oh.
show our progression. I was stretching.
So you guys like want to have some butt sex, huh?
Of course,
There
but
we go.
on the last live stream, he said something about putting a penis in my belly button, and then I said it would rip my intestines or something, and then I was like, dude, I was doing that flirt thing that girls do. I was like, dude, you don't really have that big of a dick, because I was wanting him to prove it. And then he sent the picture, and then I was like, ooh, and then
It's all head though. It's like a soda can, but it's all head.
Oh my god, y'all are so fucking weird.
Love it.
I know
So
you're
anyway, before we
you're sending like fake shit out. I could see that. Are you putting? Please don't put that on the Discord channel.
No, I moved it.
Pineapple
It was just-
flesh doesn't contain a bacteria that eats flesh. However, it does contain an enzyme called bromelain that can break down proteins, which is why it's sometimes referred to as flesh-eating enzyme. The enzyme is also what gives pineapple its meat tenderizing properties. Ooh,
Meat tenderizing?
meat tenderizing.
So you can put that on your steak just to tenderize it?
Put it on your dick.
Ooh.
Ew.
But
That's gonna make it go down. You don't want that.
it'll tenderize it.
Mhm.
Tenderoni.
But no, just get a can of those pineapples that are already like cored, and just have a good old time with
Oh, that's disgusting.
it. Tenderizing your meat.
There's a myth
Wash
that you
veggies
can
if you
use
can.
pineapple to get an abortion.
What?
Like have a myth. You can. I think it's a myth. I don't believe it. But there is one that says you can use pineapple to get a miscarriage happening.
I'm
Just
looking it
overdose
up.
on pineapple.
What the hell? You just like you drink pineapple juice or you eat pineapples, Rash? What are you talking about?
Just drink pineapple juice or eat pineapples, and supposedly can induce an abortion. Sorry, an
No,
abortion.
it
I keep saying
doesn't.
abortion.
So
No.
hold on, it's not true, but why the myth exists is because pineapple contains an enzyme called bromelain. Bromelain in very high doses or concentrated tablet form can potentially break down proteins in the body and could theoretically cause bleeding or uterine contractions. So it's based on something that could be true, but it's exaggerated like a motherfucker. Like you can't do it from like pineapple.
Yep, I got the
Okay,
exact same
here's
thing.
another one. Here's another
No,
one.
yeah,
Is
it's not gonna
you can use it to fake drug test.
happen.
Basically,
Oh,
get
oh,
overdose of pineapple, and this one I
Oh
know
no,
works.
I got
oh,
a
do,
better
I've
do you
done
one
it.
guys
for
remember
that.
the,
You
the
just put
pickle juice
Churchill
thing?
and Gatorade.
There's a
No,
lot of
it
ways to
was it
pass a
was
drug
pickle
test.
juice.
Well,
Like whenever I was
nowadays it's a
younger,
swab,
that's
so
what I
now
was
it's
always
different.
told. Do you remember
Yeah.
that?
I'm just saying pineapple juice works for drug tests, or some drug tests probably not all. Works for weed.
I heard apple cider vinegar. I don't know if it's true though.
No, that's what I was just saying. Is pickle juice. You take out the
Oh,
pickles. You're supposed to drink that. That's whenever I was younger. That's what I was told to
that's
pass it.
better than apple cider vinegar. That would be
I
some
just stopped
potent shit.
smoking weed
You
and
drink
just
that,
passed
and
the
it's
drug test.
I've
nothing
never
worse.
had to worry about it. I've never done anything where I
I've
needed to.
taken 2 drug tests
No,
in my
me
life.
neither.
One was going to
I've never
prison
had to
for my
do it either.
stupid DUI at 19. I got pulled over driving. Well, I backed up in the. I was driving down a road in the fog. I couldn't see shit, and I missed my road, so I backed up like a foot and to make the turn, and whoop whoop, get fucking pulled over for that. Fucking my friend had a bag of weed with like barely a pipe full on him. Fucking
That would make me paranoid from then on. Anytime I smoked,
dude.
I'm not driving.
Nope. Well, I didn't. Never took my shit with me like anywhere unless like if I got shit, it just was from that point to home. Like there was no deviations. Like I just got the shit home. I hit it every fucking time I fucking got shit. Like I was all paranoid about it because $7,000 in fines, 3 days in fucking jail, fucking lost my license, probation, bullshit. Like no, I was good.
That's what I do with testosterone. Well, I was doing it for a little bit. It makes me so paranoid to have it, so I have to hide it and shit, and make sure that, like, the chances the police are going to come knock on my door and
Are
search
you
my
still
house
that,
are
Charles?
so. No, I still have like 3/4 of a bottle or of a vial, but so far I've decided that I really don't want to. I've got so much other shit going on. I don't really care about that much right now, and I don't want to do it unless I'm truly invested. Because you don't want to take a couple of shots and waste your fucking testosterone, and then like go, oh no, I'm not interested anymore. Like I need
It's
to be
kind of like
really
acid.
into it.
Like I had a bunch of hits of acid laying around. I was like, oh, when do I want to do this? It's like, and you just pretty much want to do it all at once. I had 9 hits of acid. But it's like, that's a lot of fucking acid. And I'm like, oh, fuck it. All right, here we go.
Okay,
So
you're
I
gonna
just did
fucking
it
die
all at
if you do
once.
that.
And then I just rocked my world by myself one night. Paranoid.
And last time I did acid, it was the worst night of my.
Oh, dude, I had a
recent.
great time. I like melted into the recliner and everything. I had like.
Is it possible to overdose on acid?
Crap.
Can you
No.
die from it?
Yeah,
You
yeah, I
just get
think it
bad
is.
acid. You can get bad acid,
I
which
mean,
fucks
I
you up
don't
for
know.
life. But you can't like psychedelics.
Well,
It's what you take with you, basically. It's your mind. If you're
fentanyl in
stupid,
it now. They put that in everything.
like if you're stupid, you'll go get stuck on the stairs for 10 hours, maybe. But I mean, honestly, knows. Like, I'm not shitting you. We knew this guy. He did a bunch of fucking.
I bought my first car by selling them, and I had pretty much $300 to my name, and I had 1,600 at the end of the weekend, and I bought my first car off my auntie. So I was pretty stoked. I thought I was King Dick. It was just selling about 2 sheets worth, so it wasn't really that many, but yeah, no one had them at all. So when I found them, they went boom. I was like, oh, okay.
I've been curious about hallucinogens, but like just weed, my experience has been very negative. It makes me automatically like have so much skepticism that I'm afraid that I'm going to freak out and panic with any sort of hallucinogen.
It does go off a different basis.
Yeah,
So like
that's me
THC is
too.
received through THC receptors, where psychedelics go off of serotonin.
Yeah, but like there's also a personality dynamic involved. I have pretty serious anxiety, and that makes me think that like the anxiety will take hold when I'm like having a hallucination. Like, doesn't that play a role too?
Well, I did when the first time I did
It's a
mushrooms,
personal
like
thing.
I had Discord on and people were playing music for me. It was a guy who does shit like that, so he was fucking playing cool shit that was actually making my trips pretty cool. But all of a sudden, it's like I went into this room, like everything turned black around me, and all I could hear was like chains like rattling off a wall and a woman screaming in the background, like, "Oh my god, what the fuck's going on? What the fuck's going on?" My fucking heart just started fucking pounding.
Fuck
And then
that.
I'm like, calm down, dude. You're tripping. Remember, you're high. You're high. Remember, you took mushrooms, dummy. And then all of a sudden the bottom fell out, and I like fell through the bottom of this like room and into a pond, and there's like a splash in the pond. And then all of a sudden I was on the side of the pond. And it was like, your actions are like throwing a pebble into a pond, and it's like watching the ripples that came out from it and everything. And then all of a sudden I just like morphed into a wisp of air, and all of a sudden I'm like whistling through this fucking valley and shit like that. And I was like, I mean,
I don't trust it, dude. Like, it's what I said, and also there's another aspect. I don't like the concept of not being in complete control of my own mind.
you just gotta lay
I
back.
don't like it.
Well, see,
Right.
there was another two. It was another
Gotta
time when I
test
was
the
up.
limits, dude. Gotta test the limits.
I
I
might
did
one
a
day.
lot.
Well,
laid back,
so
and I
I've
told
done it.
myself,
So I took some shrooms about like 5 years ago. But my friend, he's a professor, and so he grows them like himself, and it's for like studies. So I completely
well, that's what I
trusted
tried to get into first. The
but
studies in Boston.
but it was really so I saw everything in purple. Everything was and I went to a museum with a friend,
Vibrant.
and it was,
Everything
oh my
becomes
gosh,
very
it
vibrant.
was fantastic. I
I
loved
did
it.
that at night because I didn't want to get disturbed. So me, I was worried about people showing up when I was doing it. I wanted to be isolated and have no exterior
That's
inputs
what
coming
it,
in.
that's
That
what
would
it would have to
Good
be
boy.
for
It was
me.
kind of weird.
Gotta do both, day and night, though.
Well, you would need
Two
to
nights
either
fast.
be uninterrupted or be with a person that you absolutely trust. Like,
Oh,
that's the
yeah.
only way I could do it.
well, see, when I did
Daytime
acid,
mushies was awesome. It was a lot more because you're kept aware more because of the light. It's more, I don't know, like there's less. It feels, for want of a better explanation, like there's more meth in it. You're more awakeness. There's more energy in your
yeah,
hallucinogenic trip,
when I did
rather
them
than
at
at night time
night,
where you can zone out in your
yeah, that's what I did at
hallucinogenic
night.
trip.
When I would actually take a blanket and get really warm, and like when you got really warm is when you like went into those like trances almost.
Yeah.
And but when I did the acid, I did it
The
all the way
ethereal
through the whole
travel.
night, and I did it until the morning because I wanted to ride my bike down the road because as the first guy who invented acid, he went on a bike ride. So I went
No,
outside
that's
and
true.
watched.
That is true. That is
So I
so
saw
true.
all the grass, like the grass is just very bright green, like the sky is just so blue, and like the clouds are just white, like it's so intense white, like everything is just intensified to like HD.
I tried it like a few times whenever I was younger, like way younger, and I liked it. Like whenever I tried it, I mean, I never had a bad trip.
I like the
It was just
mushrooms
kind of
better.
fun.
The acid
But
made my neck all tight, like the strychnine in it. It makes it feel like there's somebody like with their hands wrapped around your throat the whole time.
well, but
I
yeah,
agree.
but I stayed home. Like I didn't go anywhere because that would be too crazy.
And
If you
I
want
had
better
weed.
hallucinations, take about 6 travel sickness pills.
Mm-mm.
It's a dirtier trip, but far better hallucinations. Like I was looking into an ashtray and I saw 2 sort of figures form out of ash and have like those lead figures that you used to get for Dungeons and Dragons, and then have a battle with
pewter.
each other. Yeah, one had a sword and one had a flail. And like having a battle and then crumbled. And I still vividly remember this hallucination.
I
Like,
done a lot of
that
stupid
style of
shit.
hallucination.
Did you ever do aerosols at a younger age?
Aerosols, what the
but
fuck
aren't
is
they similar to Nangs or
Jesus
not?
Christ?
Well, I had these stupid friends that took a freaking air freshener can, they
butane?
put it in a trash can or a trash bag, and they basically emptied the aerosol into the trash bag, and then you take huffs of it, and you sit there just fucking laughing.
It's fucking
Oh,
what
are you
the
talking about
natives do or used to do here. It's really, really bad for you, man.
Yeah,
But they do it into the bag
bad.
because gravity makes the heavier parts fall to the
Yeah.
bottom of the bag. So they take in less shit. But it's fucking an aerosol can, man.
Oh,
It's
after
got
you
shit
do
in
it,
dude.
you feel stupid as shit. Like you're just brain dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do not recommend that to anybody. That's like that stupid
It's like blue
nitrous
huffing
everybody's
kind
doing.
of level of getting high.
It's like not nitrous.
Where's
It's so
Davis when we need him? Good
Well,
for
that's what I was.
extraordinaire.
Are you talking about nitrous? You're not.
Well, no,
That's
it's like that, but worse for you. Like it's like basically like chemical soup for your brain that just deteriorates it.
Fuck that.
okay. What are you showing here, Trubs?
This is chatterbait.
He's getting ready.
Chatterbait?
This is the warm
So
up.
is this an OnlyFans?
No, OnlyFans is wrong because they fucking charge money. Chatterbait, you rely on other people that are rich to pay for the tips that get them naked.
Yeah, you just sit there and wait.
It's called
Yep.
Chatterbait.
Well,
Yeah,
what is
chatterbait.
got in the room?
There's trans people, there's dudes, there's women, there's whatever you're looking for on there.
Well, see, Trobs lives in a state that literally banned pornography.
Yep.
So
And
he
let,
can't-
well, it didn't necessarily ban it. You have to prove you're 18 plus.
you got to enter your
Oh,
driver's
but
license.
yeah, and also, but like Pornhub and shit, yeah, you have to have. I stopped going there because of that. It made it too much of a pain in the ass.
Well, who
What
wants
do
to put their actual information in a porn site?
I don't.
All you got to do is say that. No, you don't even have to say that you're 18. You just click it and pretend
They don't
like
do that
you're
anymore,
18.
Melody. That's not even like that anymore. That was
What do
how,
you
that was
mean?
the old days. There's like states that have like porn banned in their states, except for unless you put your ID in. And some states have it completely banned.
Yep.
Oh, really?
It's actually another part of Project fucking 2025. Like all of it, like we're like, dude, this is serious. But actually, there was a point, I'll be honest. I think I said it on the live stream. There was a point when I said it seems that the Project 2025 shit was actually not true. But early on, I did say it was. I think Gad was one that never backed off of it. So
There's a Project 2025 checker, and actually has little boxes that check off
Yep.
everything he accomplishes.
Yep. At this point, there's no denying it. It's what's going on.
I was about to say, shit,
What
are
are
you
y'all
changing
talking about?
stance? I thought it was definitely real.
Well, I
There's no
thought early on before Trump got elected. So first I was like, he's going to do Project 2025. But then
Yeah.
I started watching shit and it convinced me that he's not because of the way his rhetoric went and shit. And I was like,
Oh,
yeah, he's not going to.
I get
But
what
then
you're
he
saying.
did anyway. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is I was wrong
After
because I
that
changed my
website
mind.
What is
showed me.
that? What are you talking about?
Project
What is
2025.
Project 25? What are you
Is
talking
that a
about?
Project 2025
it's-
Yeah,
tracker?
Project, yeah.
It's
What is that?
basically it's a right wing fucking like
Playbook.
playbook for the next right wing Republican administration and what they should do in the country, and it's very bad. In
It's
fact, it's
basically-
so bad that Trump had to say, "I don't know what that is."
It's basically gutting all social welfare, all safety nets for all poor people, giving everything to the rich, making basically companies can dump any toxins wherever they want.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
basically
He's
chopping up our
definitely
national
doing
parks,
that. I mean, that's
selling
all he
them.
cares about.
And giving the executive branch more power than they've ever had and
Yeah.
should have.
Gutting all the levers of power. Basically, he's a dictator.
Yep. And that's Project 2025.
Yeah, I mean, he's cut
So-
everything with education.
But you'd never heard of it, Melody? Like it was
Teachers.
huge in the news, like whenever he was running, because the Democrats used it as a way to fight against him. They're like, do you want Project 2025 to happen? Then you're gonna have to vote against Trump.
I don't really pay attention to
Travis.
politics just because it's
Huh?
This kid's watching.
it's so depressing. And I know.
Well,
And
to
what's
be
gonna be
fair,
is
she
what's
wasn't
gonna be.
showing anything.
Yeah.
Well, I already had my
Oh,
finger
yeah,
hovering
yeah,
over the
you
stop
don't want to get
sharing.
a strike. Don't get a strike.
I was watching her. I seen her getting, wanting to pull that titty out, and I was like, "Oh,
I
I
don't
don't
think
think
she
that
was-
titty."
She wasn't going to.
What she wants the tip, so if that tip would have came in, she was tempting the tip.
Well, most of the time they play this game where they need a certain amount of tips before they'll show anything. And if they fight that and they do it early, then they lose tips in the future because people expect them to do it for 50 tokens only.
It's a
you
game.
know, it is a game.
Well, and the thing is, soon it's going to be AI, and people won't even be able to tell the difference. It's going to watch how all these models. Because how many models are doing this? Thousands of millions of them.
Yeah.
So it's going to take
most
all
of
that
them are
information,
AI.
how they act, what they do, and everything, and it's going to make an AI. Hey, actually, I should do that. make
I
a
mean,
bunch of
they
these
are already,
AIs and just
they
make them
all
make money
already
for
do
me.
this, though.
See, we actually explained what it is, and then like 2 days later, I go on there and it's like Melody 2525 on there, and like Melody's got herself a cam stream set up.
Yeah, and then it'll
Melody,
probably,
I can help you.
they'll just
I'll help
say
you
that
set
I'm
it up.
somebody.
Gadwin's trying to see you naked. He's like, before you do it, we got to make sure you're comfortable with
Well,
this.
I'll get one of those lead door masks and wear it, and then be a native if she needs one.
Sick fuck.
You're a fluffer.
Yep. Come give her a good dicking before she gets in the. in front of the camera.
You fucking freaks.
Sold.
Yeah, I don't care anymore. This world has completely. I've seen so much just debauchery and just fucked up
Most
shit,
of the
like,
time when we're saying shit like that, Melody, we're not being serious.
Oh, I know. But yeah, but a lot of these
I was just getting her
people
butthole moist.
fuck off. No, but a lot of this, it's all like this AI thing, and I even saw 3 months ago or whatever. It wasn't too long ago, and people are trying to act like they have Down syndrome. Just and some people like have this fetish for people with Down. I don't know.
Oh, I see
And so
that girl
people,
had a hot body, but yeah, she had
Yeah.
Down syndrome.
I
and then they're
actually
all
know
like,
where it
Yeah.
came from. The girl is on this popular YouTube channel to where it's a sister. They're sisters, and they're both gym freaks. And there's a normal sister, and she makes a bunch of shorts involving her Down syndrome sister, who's also into gym shit. And she is used for the
Oh.
meme for that. And everybody's like, "Oh my god, I'm quote down with that."
Oh my God, that's just. But yeah, no, I saw that was a thing, and I'm like, well, who the fuck would subscribe to that? But yeah, it didn't make any sense
people
because
fell in
it
love
was
with the
her
little
being
baby
all
hippo. I
sexy.
mean, Mudang.
Well, the internet also brings out sort of the most profane in people. Like it
Yeah,
it
does.
don't mean that they're like that in real life. Like a lot of times people get attention by being extra fucking crazy.
Well,
the emanated
yeah, they do.
have
There's
immunity
that.
from.
Yes.
So their
That's true.
intrusive thoughts actually come out where they would not say these things usually.
That's true, but so it depends. There's both. There's the people, they have perceived anonymity, so they will be more themselves. But then there's also people who are just pure trolls. Like I used to do this. I would say shit that I didn't believe just to get reactions. So it's difficult to kind of sort through it all.
I say shit to get reactions, and I want
I
to see
do.
how you react to it.
Yep. And like it'll
I
be
generally don't. It's easy. It's more substantial and fulfilling when you beat them with correct argument.
well, true, but I'm not talking about debates. That's a whole different thing. I'm talking about
Okay.
just like normal
Sorry,
interactions, But I
Okay,
agree.
I disappeared for a little bit.
It's all good. I agree if it's a
Yeah,
debate.
we got them fantasizing.
By the way, we're down to about 4 minutes before the alarm kicks in. That annoying ass sound.
And then what?
Okay.
Are we at a 3-hour limit?
2-hour limit. I've got to shut down in just a few minutes.
Oh, we're at 2:42.
Well, okay. 2 hours after so I start really early to give people a heads up. So I don't start till actually 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when I actually get the stream going and I show my own camera. But I start before that just to be like starting soon,
Okay.
It's confusing.
So what kind
Oh,
of
I'm
things have you
stoned
done,
too, so that don't
Robs,
help.
that just to get like a reaction out of people? Because I know that you said that it's not discussions or debates, but you said that you do stuff to get reaction. So give an example.
Well, fuck, I used to do it all the damn time. I would literally like get on like what was that called? Google Hangouts or Hangouts was a big thing back in the day. And we had groups and I would jump in there and like it'd be a video chat and everybody's just having a light-hearted, like everybody's a little nervous. I jump in and I'm swinging my dick around like fucking nothing. Like I do shit like that all the fucking time. Yes.
Oh my God, you're fucking insane.
Now, I wish I had never done that because it created problems for me in relationships later because then it was like, dude, like, you can't say shit about how I dress and what I do. You literally came in chats with your dick out, dude. And I'm like, fuck. Because it's a valid point. Like, I wish I'd never done it. I wish I'd never done it.
You had
I
some
have many
crazy
of those moments
videos
where I
up,
look
too.
back.
That's true. I would, a lot of times I would make content only, like, I would be like, how can I get the biggest shock reaction? And that was the only thing.
Yeah, because
Well,
you made a
and that's
video
what
about
you
eating
did whenever
chocolate
we
pudding
were
out
on
of my ass or
Phenomenal.
something
I
like that.
did. That was a good
You
one.
had some crazy shit on there.
Right, right.
On your former channel.
I've moved out. I've moved away from that a little bit. I still kind of dip into stuff like that a little bit, but not like I used to.
Yeah, you would
He's
have
matured.
videos on there all the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, you were insane. Just you would have like
He-
this
he-
goth look and
Well, he was
just
kind of like an early shock of the internet, kind of like an internet shock kind of chat
Sort of.
shock.
But what I would do is I would mix in serious shit while using jokes and allegory to push it, if that makes sense. Kind of like how South Park uses humor to make serious statements about shit, like political statements and stuff. I sort of did that a lot.
You intrigued the Italian one in ways.
They what?
You intrigued the Italian ones in your behavior.
The
the
Italian ones.
Oh yeah, you
The
did.
Milanese one.
Why?
Just
But
because you're writing.
just because she wanted to understand how my brain worked because
Yeah.
I was crazy.
Yeah. No, not like any kind of sexual attraction or anything
Oh,
like
I
that.
know what you mean.
But yeah, like on a
And
professional,
actually,
like,
the other way, it was true
well,
the
your
other way around
upbringing-
because she did not make sense to me. She is a very unique individual intellectually and like personality wise. She is an extroverted writer, which does not happen. That don't happen unless she's lying and she's not an extrovert.
not everything
So
is
was she
as
snuck back under
perceived
disguise or
with
what?
her.
Must be Bianca we're talking about.
Yeah.
She only goes out very rarely with very select few friends. She's almost
So
kept
she
them
is an
all the time.
introvert. She just don't want you knowing it.
She
She's
acts
100 yeah,
very introverted and is very shy, super shy. Like she won't even break
Mhm.
wind around anybody.
Well, no, and she even said that. She would say that all the time that she was an introvert. But she would be a dick and then she would be nice.
But
and
yeah,
she would
but
be a
then she
dick.
can come to life with the party like very excited, like very chatty. That never shuts up. Like she's a person that does not shut up at times. Like
I can see
chatterbox.
that, but like it don't mean that you're not an introvert. It means that when you're comfortable with someone, you become like very talkative. Introvert,
like-
it doesn't mean that you never talk to people. It's only based on how you get energy. Introverts get energy by recharging by being alone. Extroverts get energy by being in social situations.
I think she can do both, really. It's just like
that's
she
why
can go
most of
work
us
the
are introverts,
professional world
fucking
in the
chat.
corporate setting and be perfectly fine, but then also very reclusive and never come out of her.
So she's an ambivert. Like it depends on what she needs.
It's whatever she feels, basically. Does she feel like being in the
I'm
corporate
the same.
setting, or does she feel like being the hermit?
Right. Makes sense.
Same here.
Isn't that like everyone?
Well, it's
no, I'm pretty.
There's levels of it
time.
because there it's a spectrum is a way to look at it. So I am very far on the introvert spectrum to the point where most people around me thinks I'm like a recluse serial killer or some shit. Like I don't ever go out in the sun.
My neighbor actually said, I didn't even know you were anymore. I thought you died because you just never saw me.
I've actually heard that numerous times from my next door neighbor. They're like, they'll knock on the door, especially if I go on vacation, because then I'm not going to work. My car stays there and I'd never leave the house for a full week. And she knocks on the door and she's like, I was making sure you're alive. Like it's happened numerous times.
So you're just talking different levels of empathy.
Not empathy. Well, how are you linking empathy with it?
You care for other people.
Well, no, not necessarily, because you can have a ton of empathy for people, but not have a desire for social interaction. They're two different things.
Fair enough. Yeah,
because me,
I want the best for humanity, but I don't want to interact with people.
Exactly. So I'm an example of that. I have higher empathy than your average person, but I am highly introverted.
I am that kind of person. As soon as I see anybody struggling with something, I'm boom right there to help them. Like
I am with exceptions. This is where me and my aunt disagree so much. She thinks everyone deserves the same level of respect, love, and everything, regardless. I believe that it should be earned, and that if there's evil people, I do not give a fuck if you die. I won't piss on you to put a fire out.
Well, there's
That's
a girl at work
where I
who started
differ.
shit. She's this little bratty princess type that thinks she's better than everybody.
Respect.
She's like 24 years old. She just sticks her nose up to everybody, but yet she's the smallest person there. We all literally look down to her.
Right.
And she just does everything backward, literally write numbers in the opposite way, which confuses people. And just, she thinks she's just can do everything her way. Well, she fucking pissed me off one day. I snapped on her. Now I treat her as though she's invisible. I don't look at her. I look as though I'm looking right through her. And she is so unnerved by this. Like, and I got all the Hispanic guys to agree with me. They don't help her. Everybody refused to help her. So she's sitting there struggling and shit like that. And we're all helping each other.
That is how things should be. Because if you don't provide negative reinforcement for bad behavior, it amplifies. You have to. Like, my aunt is always saying, like, okay, so this is a bad person. That does not mean that I should hate them. Maybe you can make an argument for that, but you should show negative reinforcement in some way.
I treat people how they
you can't have positive reinforcement for somebody that's a piece of shit.
That's true. Well, also,
why would anybody do that?
I agree, but it's also worth noting that doing nothing is positive reinforcement because your natural instinct is to keep doing what you think works for you.
But the supervisor, though, he does behavior. He goes up to her and talks to her, puts his little arm on her shoulder and stuff, treats her like his little daughter, like, oh, are you okay? And she's just, oh, yeah.
Right. So what Gaddis is talking about with his, like, ignoring is negative reinforcement. That's not what I'm talking about. You're right. You're right. I'm agreeing with you with that. So what I'm talking about is when they ignore it completely. Like, he's talking about, like, the silent treatment type. You know, you're teaching a lesson with that. I'm talking about when people feel like they should not address it at all because it makes them a bad person to point out anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they don't even care that people are bad.
Disregarding the whole topic completely.
Yes, exactly.
I would drive Bianca mad with the silent treatment. When she pissed me off, I would not accept her calls, nothing. And she would start writing paragraphs, like, just like, telling me off. Well, at first they're nice, and then they're telling me off, and then they're sorry, and then it's like, then she would actually call my mom to come over to my house and make sure I was like, oh my god, it was so crazy.
Yeah, she was into like these tirades.
Oh, that's full on.
You would go nuts.
She was always interesting, man. But gee,
yeah,
what was the Danny and Emily and her circle thing, or was that just all imaginary?
It was them. That was them, but fucking with her and her just being over paranoid and taking more taking more of what they said as truth than she ever should have.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
What I saw was
a very paranoid woman.
Some of it I think was true, but Bianca probably exaggerated it and put too much into it.
She is a showman, for sure.
Yeah,
she knows how to present herself and show herself in the best light.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way she'll show herself.
She tried to be exceptional and perfect. I mean, she would even ask, "Is this the correct way to say
that's
this?"
her showing weakness because she wants to show some weakness as though she has vulnerability, as though she's not condescending.
Well, there was a period where we fought, and it's because of what you're describing, and she rebuffs any negative talk about her, like as if it's an affront to the world. So there was a period of time when I said, and it was like a valid, I tell people what I think no matter what. I don't care about you getting pissed off. And I was like, look, I think that Bianca, she was watching, I guess, but I didn't know. And I was like, Bianca sometimes will manipulate people by kind of portraying a certain image about herself.
Oh, and
she got so fucking mad over this. And she's like, you need to apologize. And I'm like, the only way I'll ever apologize is if I think I was wrong. And I don't think I was wrong. I'm sorry if it offends you, but I believe you do that. I'm sorry.
And then she had all these fucking minions and everything that
that's what got me. That's why I finally had enough was when Holmes started sending email threats to my family members.
Yeah.
And to my wife about my kids and stuff, that's what I was like, all right, call them off now or I'm gonna fucking dox the fuck out of you. And she didn't say a fucking word. She just went silent. I was like, all right. Then Smith and Home and them kept on me. I was like, all right, here we go then.
Well, you guys,
I gave
you guys
her
were like
plenty of
boyfriend.
chances
You
to
were
call
like
it off, and I was
boyfriend
sick of the
girlfriend.
shit. When you send shit to my family members and shit making threats, that's when the gloves come off.
Oh,
Fair.
she did.
Yeah, well, had no idea. Wow.
But y'all were like hot boyfriend girlfriend, and y'all.
Oh
you
yeah,
were
but
gonna-
Holmes
you were
wanted
gonna
his. He wanted in it so bad, and he wanted nothing but chaos out of it. And so
Who
all
did?
he did is homoerotic. So he doxed me and started harassing my family, sending threats to them, sending threats to the old lady about the kids and everything like that. And that's why I was like, all right, call them off now, or it's you're gonna regret this.
Well,
Because before I was just
you
flaming on
can
her, where
stop
I was making shit up about her, just basically a character assassination, but none of it was true. Basically, I was just making shit up to make her sound like I was a really bad person, but
Mhm.
none of it was true to actually her be affected by it, like
Right.
personally. And then they kept on, so I was like, all right, we'll go with the real shit this time.
Fair.
Okay, I'm just gonna keep everything to myself. but you pissed off a lot of people. Yeah,
When you come after my family, that's when my guard really goes up. Most of the time, I don't give a fuck. But whenever you start going after my kids, especially, that's whenever I'm not gonna play nice.
I'm similar. The group that you started on Discord, that became Jordan's, that group, I had a very similar situation where someone started using pictures of my children from a video that I had, and they started putting that shit, and somehow they found out their names. That I take very fucking seriously.
Oh, do you want Jordan? I can bring his information up pretty quick again. It wasn't hard to get.
I heard recently that Jordan died.
I heard that too, but he was dying every week whenever he was in Discord.
True. I've heard more than I've heard several times that he died.
Yeah, he's always dying, always in the hospital. All he does is fucking drink alcohol.
What I did say, and I stand by it. I said, okay, dude, I'm going to say this. I hope this don't offend you because I'm not intending to, but I'm not one of those people that changes what they say about a person because they died. I do not think Jordan was a good person. I'm not going to pretend like he was because he's dead. I refuse to. I don't do that shit.
No,
I sat in the sidelines in that Discord and just watched the chaos.
If they're dead, they're dead. I mean,
right. But it doesn't change who they were.
Oh my gosh, yeah. He was such a great person.
You should have been there the night I jumped his shit. He was in Discord in the voice chat, and he was with that other annoying little midget in there. She'd always talk really loud, Liz. Oh my god, they were both just talking over everybody, and I was like, all right, motherfucker, shut the fuck up. And I fucking just went off, and I actually muted them so they couldn't even fucking talk. And I just railed on those motherfuckers. I was like, you inconsiderate pieces of shit, you don't let anybody fucking talk. You talk over everybody, you act like you're better than everybody. Like, just fucking demeaned them to the hell. And then they got all offended.
That's why I left before. Even before the kid thing, I left once before, and I told Jordan because he wanted me to come in there because he kind of sucked up to me. He really wanted me in his little clique. And I refused it because I know that he was manipulating. And I know, one, I don't do those cliques, period. He does this thing, and I told him to his face, I don't do this fucking hierarchical shit where you have these groups of people in your hierarchy, and you'll sick all of your lackeys, and yourself will pick on people, and everybody attacks when you point. I don't do that shit, and I don't want any part of that shit. And he's like, I understand. And I'm like, so you're not going to change? And he's like, I don't see it the way you do. So basically he's saying, no, I'm not going to change.
He's the most narcissistic person I've ever seen. Is
this Discord? Can I ask that?
Yes, it was. It was one of the Discord groups. Yeah.
But it started from Space Chat.
I wasn't a part of it.
It was Space Chat people went to a Discord, and then it evolved into a bigger
true, yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay, because I don't remember him from Fact Nominal.
I think he left before that. He left
How the Universe Works.
Yes, that was the last place he came to.
Okay, all right. So it was before me, because I was kind of a noob there whenever I was there. So yeah.
Do you still see Celtic around at all?
Time ago.
Well, guys, it is past time. I've got to roll.
Okay.
All right.
Appreciate
Got the
coming
fapper
on.
warmed up.
The fapper is ready to go.
Oh my God.
So I will see you guys next week if you're available. Thanks for coming. And I mean that in
See
more
ya.
ways than one.
Y'all
Have
have
a
a
good
good
one.
night.